morning, everyone. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and welcome to Sunday Morning Futures. The magic number. Donald Trump finally gets the delegates needed to clinch the nomination. What is next? Is he any closer to selecting a running mate? Plus, President Obama weighs in on the Trump campaign from overseas. And big developments this week in the Hillary Clinton email investigation at the State Department. What did an internal audit find, and how does it impact her race for the White House? Plus, headaches over long waits at the TSA security checkpoints across airports in the country. Is there any relief in sight as the summer travel season gets underway? We're looking ahead this morning on Sunday Morning Futures. And we begin this morning with the presidential race. Donald Trump securing the GOP nomination and pulling even with Hillary Clinton in two national polls this week. Now they are digging in for the fight come November. The frontrunners trading nasty jabs over Second Amendment rights, the 2008 economic crash, and former President Bill Clinton's past sex scandals. Plus a bombshell this week for the Clinton camp after a State Department watchdog revealed she knowingly broke the rules by using a private email server. Trump calling the audit bad news.
She's as crooked as they come. She had a little bad news. Some reports came down weren't so good, but not so good. The Inspector General's report, not good. But I want to run against Hillary, not me. I just want to run against her.
Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions is senior member of the Judiciary Committee, member of the Armed Services Committee, and chairman of Donald Trump's National Security Advisory Committee. Senator, good to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria.
First, let me get your take on this Inspector General report released this week. The Clinton campaign came out right away and said this is all politics. Other secretaries of state have used Gmail accounts. What's your take?
It's not politics. It's fact, and it's very troubling facts. The Inspector General works for the Secretary of State's office. They investigated the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and they've concluded that she violated a number of rules, significant provisions that require protecting security information. But not only that, they found that she did not cooperate. Her top people refused to be interviewed in many instances, and I think that is a real direct contradiction to what she's been telling the American people for many weeks now.
Yeah.
And in addition, you've got the FBI investigation. This was just an internal security review of how she handled it, but the FBI investigation involving potential criminal activity continues.
Well, do you think that that is going to impact her campaign?
I think it will. You know, a lot of things could be said, but to me, she's following the same old Clinton policies of the 1990s in which they just obstruct and refuse to cooperate with investigations, claim they're cooperating when they're not, and that kind of lack of integrity has got to put a cloud over her effort to be president of the United States.
Yeah, and of course she has been talking a lot about what Donald Trump has been saying as it relates to immigration, as it relates to trade. So I want to talk to you about that because you've done so much work on immigration, and we all know that immigration is probably one of the most fundamental issues for any election, for any country. Who gets to live in this country, work in this country, and participate in this democracy is really critical. So tell us, given all of the work you've done and the commentary out of Donald Trump, what immigration looks like in America in a Trump presidency.
Well, right now it's totally lawless. Hillary Clinton said just a few weeks ago that nobody should be deported from America who entered illegally unless they commit a violent crime. That's to the left of President Obama's position. She is basically creating a circumstance where nobody would be detained. It's an evisceration of the law that we have. It's unbelievable. American people need to know more about her extreme position there. Donald Trump believes that there should be a lawful system of immigration, one that we can be proud of, one that serves the national interest, one that allows fairness when people apply, and those who qualify can get in and those who don't. That's what a good, great nation should have. He will ensure that that happens. We're going to end the lawlessness and protect the interests of the American people.
But how do you walk this balance of ensuring that we have fair trade, and lawful immigration, but not being seen as an isolationist?
Well, this is such an extreme, unjustified attack. Of course, Donald Trump believes in trade. He said the immigration system will have an open door. He's never suggested we would end immigration. We admit 1.1 million a year lawfully now. And some of the categories are not justified and need to be altered. But he's not saying we're going to end immigration. He's not saying we're going to end trade. We're going to defend the interests of the American people.
Yeah.
And, Maria, there is no doubt. And Professor Borjas at Harvard, the top expert in the world, says that these immigration flows are pulling down wages of American workers. Why could it not? We also are going to be able to establish that the trade agreements have not worked well at all and, in fact, have been damaging to the American economy. Why should we do another 5,000-page Pacific trading agreement that President Obama wrote when it's not going to benefit us but actually harm manufacturing in America? So I think this is not against trade and it's not against immigration. It's protecting the legitimate interest of the American working person.
But can you categorically say that the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, will not go through by the end of the year? Because the president says he's going to get this through by December. How do we know he's just not going to go around Congress again and push it through?
Maria, you know, maybe he has some idea of trying to go around Congress, but I don't think he can. But they hinted that they were going to try to ram it through in the lame duck session after the election when apparently congressmen and women think they won't be held to account by their constituents who clearly oppose this agreement. So I'm not overconfident that it will die, but I think it has very little support now. I think it's been falling. It's falling in Europe for the European TTIP agreement is collapsing there. I think these trade agreements are past their due.
So do you think that Donald Trump has been able to convince Paul Ryan of that? Where are the differences and the common ground there? Do you expect the House Speaker to endorse Donald Trump soon?
Well, I would hope so and expect so. He needs to do that. We don't need to continue to have the Speaker hanging out there right now, in my opinion. I know the Speaker believes in trade agreements. Any of them, I don't think he feels he has to read them. They've just got to be good. But I don't agree with that. And the American people have voted on that. They've spoken. Donald Trump is won, and he is crystal clear on this issue. We're not going to have any trade agreements unless it protects the American interest. I think that's exactly reasonable and right.
Yeah, look, I think it's really important to get you talking about this, Senator. First of all, given all of the work you've done over the years on immigration, and secondly, because Americans are afraid. The American people are not only afraid of, first they've got foreigners taking their jobs, but now technology. You see companies going to robotics. So people do need to understand really the substance of your position, given the fact that all we see are headlines, and Hillary Clinton is using these headlines. Donald Trump wants to ban Muslims. Donald Trump said this, and about various groups. You think he's going to be able to make the case to the American people come November?
Absolutely, and we're going to move forward with that. Tufts University just produced a report and said this trade agreement will reduce 450,000 jobs in America. This is not going to, that's not benefiting America. And there are other data that's going to show how wrong they've been in previous predictions about previous trade agreements. The emperor has no clothes on these trade agreements. We're going to be able to show that Donald Trump's instincts and advocacy for decades questioning these trade agreements has been correct. It has hurt the American working person. And we've got to protect American interests and put America first.
Senator, would you like the job as vice president?
Maria, I've got enough to do right now. Donald Trump is going to pick a great vice president, somebody who can serve the interest of this country, who can be a good president if called upon, who could be an ally to him personally and philosophically. And there's some good people out there, and I'm sure he'll find the right person.
All right, we'll be watching. Senator, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Senator Jeff Sessions there.